Hi, welcome back. In our previous lesson, we looked at equilibrium in the life cycle model. Today, we'll be moving on to comparative statics with the life cycle model. So far, we have seen that the life cycle model can help us analyze the effect of changes in the economic environment on saving decisions. Today, we'll focus on how savings respond to changes in the interest rate. Let's go back to our consumer named Samuel, who starts from his initial equilibrium point EF on budget line B1 and indifference curve U1. Let's assume that interest rate falls from I to IK. The first thing to note is that the new budget constraint B2 must also pass through the endowment point A, because whatever the interest rate, someone always has the option to neither borrow or save. Now, the second thing to note is that the slope of the intertemporal budget constraint, which is the minus 1 plus I, is dependent on the interest rate. So the new budget constraint B2 will have a different slope. So this will be the slope of the old budget constraint B1, and the new budget constraint will have a slope equal to minus 1 plus IK. So this is the slope of the new budget constraint B2. And this is because the interest rate is different in this case. So the slope of the budget constraint represents the opportunity cost of $1 of present consumption in terms of future consumption. This means that if the interest rate declines, then the slope also declines. And thus the opportunity cost of present consumption in terms of future consumption also declines. For a typical consumer, if the opportunity cost of a good reduces, you are more likely to increase the consumption of that good. This means that, subject to the new budget constraint B2, someone maximizes his utility at EK, where he now consumes more in the present and less in the future. So his present consumption is now C0K, where his previous consumption was C0F. Because of the decline in interest rates, Samuel's savings in the present falls. So his previous savings was the difference between his income in the present period and his consumption in the present period. So we can denote it as SF. Now, because his consumption in the present period has increased due to a decrease in the interest rate, his savings has also reduced. So his current saving with the new interest rate is now the difference between his income in the present period and his new current consumption. So that's the difference called SK. So we must also note here that this result does not follow as a general rule. Now, depending on an individual's preferences, a decrease in interest rate can either increase or decrease savings. This theoretical ambiguity is a consequence of income and substitution effects, as well as whether the individual is initially a saver or a borrower. Now, we'll be going into this in detail in our next lesson. If you enjoyed today's lesson, consider subscribing. Thank you.